Yes, we are back. Another edition of the REKAP Lunch Hour with me, Guff, Ryan McGuffey, here at the REKAP Studios. And yet again, on the REKAP Lunch Hour, we have breaking news. I love it. This is like the third time in a week, maybe a week plus, that we've had breaking news here on the Lunch Hour. And this one's good, man, because I have strong opinions on it. I have very strong opinions on this. Sammy Sosa is back with the Cubs. It's awesome. It is so flippin' overdue. This is righting a wrong. Now, I want to get into the apology, whether it was necessary, why, after all of these years, are we in a situation where Sammy Sosa had to type up an apology and he's being welcomed back. First off, if you're just joining us, not that long ago, in a release from his agency, Sammy Sosa did issue this statement. I'm going to read it for you all right here. I left it all on the field for the Cubs and the Cubs fans because I wanted to win and make the fans happy. I love to see the fans at Wrigley in the right field bleachers every home game. I understand why some players in my era don't always get the recognition that our stats deserve. There were times I did whatever I could to recover from injuries in an effort to keep my strength up to perform over 162 games. I never broke any laws, but in hindsight, I made mistakes and I apologize. We accomplished great things as a team, and I worked extremely hard in the batting cage to become a great hitter. Cubs fans are the best in the world, and I hope that fans, the Cubs, and I can all come together again and move forward. We can't change the past, but the future is bright. In my heart, I have always been a Cub, and I can't wait to see Cub fans again. Sincerely, Sammy Sosa. Awesome. Awesome. It's basically what Tom Ricketts has been asking for, an apology, an admission to the past and the steroid era. I thought it was bullshit, to be honest with you. I really did, because there's a lot of guys who have not done that from that era that have been in baseball for the last decade plus. If Barry Bonds could be trotted out as a hero in Pittsburgh and in San Francisco, he was a hitting coach at one point in Miami, way overdue. And I don't understand why Tom Ricketts, who was a guy who always talked about being a fan and in the Wrigley bleachers, was there when Sammy Sosa was doing it, when that guy created Wrigleyville. That guy created Wrigleyville. Wrigleyville, Sammy Sosa is responsible for Wrigleyville as any person in the history of the Cubs, period. In 1998, say what you want about the steroid era, okay? Say what you want. But that dude brought butts back to the seats. 1998 was awesome. Even as a Sox guy, it was awesome. And what he did for that club, 2003, that team, still one of the most loved teams. Phil, the real Phil Simms. Do you eventually believe he gets a statue? I think everything's on the table now. He should. Why wouldn't Sammy Sosa have his number retired? I don't know. Statue, I don't know. Jess, what's up? I mean, when I said I wanted the Cubs to spend big money for their team, I didn't mean to spend big money for Sosa to come to Cubs convention. Sosa doesn't need an apology. Ricketts does. I've seen this. I've seen this sentiment. I don't disagree. I think it was foolish. I thought it was the fans didn't need an apology. That guy coming out to right field, the way he acknowledged him. After 9/11, when he had the American flag, it's one of the more iconic Chicago sports moments that I can ever remember. Vivek wasn't necessary. Back to Vivek there. The apology wasn't necessary. Saved baseball, brought popularity back to the Chicago Cubs, no doubt. And should get a statue, number retired. Corey, sorry. Me and Katie are double dipping here. That dude is the reason I'm a Cubs fan today. And that's what I'm saying. That's why Cap and I argued about this all the time. There's a generation of us, I was in 1998, I was in college. Okay. Dude, I was keeping an eye on the Cubs because of Sammy Sosa. He's the reason a lot of people in their 40s, 30s and 40s are Chicago Cubs fans. 50s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. A lot of Gen Xers are Cubs fans because of number 21. And the fact that they had to wait this long to get him back is ridiculous. But I'm not going to harp on that because he's back. I have so many stories. I flew to Miami 3 different times to interview Sammy Sosa in the last 11 years. One was supposed to be an admission that we really haven't told this story. I mean, it's been up. Cap was on the plane with me. We found out 10 minutes before we landed that the interview is off. Everybody was uncomfortable. We had to go home. We did interview him about 1998, and we had an unbelievable time at I'm trying to think this. 2018? Is that right? Yeah, 2018. We went to Sammy's place in Florida and interviewed him. We couldn't ask about steroids. There was still the whole Rickets back and forth, and it was an awesome. The guy treated us just like you'd think he would. He's very gracious. Interviewed him in 2013 when I did the documentary 5 Outs. He was fantastic. Again, gracious. Thomas, wish he could still play. Perhaps he could play DH. Vivek, yes. Yes. Sammy and WGN, man. Pablo, what's up, bud? I'm a Sox fan. Thankful for Sammy Sosa putting excitement into that summer, and even more when he came back looking like an out-of-work mime. Dude was scary in and clearly off the field. Thank you, Sammy. Corey, I was in college. You were 10. I didn't even want to talk about Katie. What do you think she was? Non-existent. Okay. She was 2. I'm just giving her. I'm just giving her crap. Noel, the home run race between Sosa and McGuire is what made me fall in love with baseball back in high school. Sammy doesn't owe us an apology, but I'm glad he's coming back to Wrigley. I think that's a very well thought out statement. Don't be mad at anybody. I like that, Noel. You're not mad at Sammy. We didn't need an apology. I never needed an apology. I think it was stupid, especially when that whole era is, not everyone's apologetic. Now, there are people like Kurt that do need it, that hope that there's actually sincereness and that he's contrite. Okay? Like, I get it. I get it. I think this is a great call, Vivek. When do the Sosa jerseys like bring him back? Do you know how much money the Cubs can make on Sammy Sosa? Now he's got to come back to a game at Wrigley Field this year. He's got to run. I want to see him run out to the bleachers. I don't care if he's jogging, whatever, and get to right field. Ken saying no way. Are you saying no way, Ken, to having Sammy back? David, loved slamming Sammy. One of my favorite all-time Cubs. Deserves to be in the Hall. Him and Big Mac were awesome. Yeah, the Hall of Fame gets in their own way. You know, the whole voting system, which comes up on the newest edition of the Cubs Talk, or the Cubs Recap podcast, I should say. The Cubs Recap podcast, which was recorded prior to this news going out about how the Hall of Fame and how the votes are construed. And some guys have votes that haven't been covering baseball in a long time. Brian, see, like the apology still is bullshit, but glad it's done with bringing back and retires number. All right. So like Brian's kind of like, it's a piece of paper. It's just a blanket statement. He said what needed to be said to make Tom Ricketts happy. That might be true. Fine. Who cares? I'm with you, Brian. Like, bring him back, retires number. Let's get this done. I mean, it's way overdue, as Vivek says earlier. Way overdue. Eric, same deal. Everybody feels the same way about this. I mean, Antonio. Oh, well, Antonio wants to talk about that guy. Let me tell you something. I sent a text to Frank last week. There was a tweet out there about Juan Soto's first 7 years versus Frank Thomas's. Look that up. He's the best right-handed hitter I've ever seen. I don't think that'll change as long as I'm on this earth. Sosa jersey sales equal Kyle Tucker extension fund. That's a dude. That's a good way of saying it. Pablo's referencing what I said earlier. In all seriousness, I get chills when I see that video of him running to the outfield. I'm telling you, folks, if you haven't seen it, okay, I'm going to pull up a picture. Sammy Sosa running out to right field when the games returned, when baseball games, which I believe were dark for 8 days. It was one of the most iconic moments in the history of Chicago sports to me. Like, dude, This is what where are we at? Look at this guy. Runs to right field. It was a very emotional. Obviously, we were all around in 2001. It was an extraordinarily emotional time. It was a scary time, and that dude knew what he was doing. I totally love it. Wayne, steroids or not, you still have to be able to hit the baseball. That battle between Sosa and McGuire was awesome. It was absolutely epic. Sammy had hit 2 in the afternoon. Big Mac would hit 2 at night. Sammy had hit 1 in the afternoon. Big Mac hit 2 at night. Big Mac hits 1 in the afternoon. Sammy hits 2 at night. He had 20 in June that year. Swayze. So this is what dude, I am telling you, somebody please tell me otherwise. I really believe that Wrigleyville became Wrigleyville, not the corporate, beautiful fountains coming out of the ground, the Zachary Hotel that it is today. All of that is because of Sammy Sosa. I know Bernie's and Murphy's have been there forever. I know that. But I went to Wrigley in the early to mid-90s. It was a place that you went to the game, and unless you were going to Cubby Bear, you were getting the hell out of there. And Wrigleyville became Wrigleyville. Now it's a destination for a lot of people. Frank says it's huge for Cubs baseball. Totally agree. I think it's awesome. I think it's seriously awesome. I think this is great for Chicago. I don't think it's just great for the Cubs. Save the strike. 100%. That's why I call you the real Phil Simms, Phil. I don't even have to read every comment, man. Sometimes you just let it ride. You just put it out there and you let people read it. Brian, Sosa equaled asses in the seats at Clark and Addison during the lean years, mine included. He's a Cubs hero. He deserves this moment in the spotlight again. Does he get a World Series ring? I don't know how far they go with all that stuff. This giving him a ring 8 years later, that feels like an apology from the Rickets then. So I don't know. Carl, very simply, thrilled to watch. No doubt. Yeah, that's what I just was saying, Astro. 100% corporate. Jess, I wish baseball and football had a fan voting component and player. Are you talking about for the Hall of Fame, Jess? I think you are, which that comment's probably coming. I don't disagree with you. Kind of like the All-Star game voting. MLB, Brian, yes. And that's why Sammy references, again, back to Sammy's apology. There were times I did whatever I could to recover from injuries in an effort to keep my strength up to perform over 162 games. I never broke any laws, but in hindsight, I made mistakes and I apologize. Okay. So he never really said, I definitely did stir. But let's be honest, folks, we're reading between the lines here. But to Brian's point, amen. And then all of a sudden, they had the 2005 congressional hearing, and all these guys are blackballed. They're the worst. No. And Sammy forgot how to speak English. We all remember that. Now, to a guy like Frank Thomas, who was part of that congressional hearing, the steroid era really screwed him. It did. It really screwed him because this guy was putting up massive numbers in an era full of, dirty stuff going on. But to Brian's point, it was happening all over the game. They were letting it happen. They needed it to happen to save the sport after the 1994 strike. Screw that guy out of the White Sox World Series. Back-to-back MVP. Yes. Give Sosa a cut. Ethan, hell yeah. He's going to get his flowers, man. Cubs convention just became, it probably sells, not that it wouldn't sell out. He will be the marquee destination. No pun intended. No pun intended. I tend to think that MLB was in on it 100%. Yeah, Bud Selig, loved it till he didn't. Look at that ceremony in St. Louis when McGuire broke the record and Sammy stopped him and hugged him, and they stopped the game, and they had the Maris family out there. Roger Maris Jr., friend of the program, got to meet him. Great dude. But they knew what was going on. Yeah, Myron, they did save baseball. Sammy and Mark put a jump and excitement back in the game. Steroids are not saying it's okay. And I think this is important, Myron. It takes talent to hit a 90-mile-per-hour. Yes, out of the park consistently. Steroids are not. Again, I like the disclaimer, not saying it's okay. No one's necessarily saying like, hey, should they have done it? Like if the morality, if we're going to do the morality police, I think we could put a line in the sand there and say like, was it right? No. But was it wrong for what they were doing when they were looking around going, well, what the hell? That's why Barry Bonds did this. He was one of the greatest players to ever play before he started doing steroids. But he was looking around at the contracts going, what the hell? No one's talking about me. Bam. Kurt's like, cool. Now go get me Corbin Burns, which actually a lot like that's, yeah, Kurt, like cool. But now what? Like, where's that money being spent? Yeah, this is what Jess was saying. I think this would be really interesting. It might also be like a slippery slope, but maybe there's a percentage vote. Maybe it's, even if it was 10%, think about the guys who are 2 or 3 votes shy, and then the fan vote gives you 10%. I don't hate that. I don't hate it. Clyde, works good, man. I'm with you guys. Your work as Roki Society. I like that Clyde's got 4 questions in one. Like, how's work? Is Roki Sasaki and Kyle Vinnigan. They're both available. It's going to take some effort, some money. And will Sammy Sosa be forgiven by the Cubs? Well, yeah. Today it happened. And fans across the board here are loving it. Ryan, Sano, Hughes, Sammy, McGuire are the reason I'm a fan. 98 was such a fun year. Thank you, Sammy, for coming clean. Yeah. What sucks is that, like, I appreciate, like, Ryan saying, thank you, Sammy, for coming clean. I think that it was very clear the only way this was ever going to happen is if Sammy did this. So I guess I'll join you, Ryan. A couple of Ryans saying thank you. Thank you, Sammy Sosa, for today. Because I've been exhausted with this topic for the last 5+ years. And I love that he's back. I do. The fans deserve it. I think about my brother. My brother's a big Cub fan. Dude, like that was a great time of life for us, like 18 to 21 years old and then into our 20s. Man, we were all over each other about Sammy. He was slamming Sammy, It brings back a lot of good times. Again, as a baseball fan, as a Chicago sports fan, what Sammy Sosa, what that was like. I love Eli. Just back to the Bulls, man. Back to the Bulls, Eli. Love it. I think it's likely. Maybe then, I don't know about the next couple of weeks, but sooner than later, for sure. Frank's comparing Sammy coming back to the Cubs to Guns N' Roses, figuring out, hey, there's a lot of money to be made here if we get back together and table all the old crap. Who knows what could have been during the years they didn't allow him around. I know. What might have been, but don't think about what the past is. Now let's just, like Sammy says in his statement, man, forget about the past. Here, we can't change the past, but the future is bright. Yep. No doubt about that. Jordo's saying, well, let's keep the momentum going. The Bulls should bring back Jordan. Well, amen. Andy, yes. Okay, so here we go. Nick, I'm going to have to, this is a big comment, my man. Nick's pissed. What a complete joke. His half-assed apology just underscores how he will never take ownership of his steroid use. I'm so sick of having to say this to all his apologists and all the roid apologists. He took a shortcut. He sullied the game. He broke hallowed Cub records for more deserving players. I don't know about that. Sosa and his ilk put all the other players in a brutal position where they were forced to make a decision to take roids like the cheaters or face not having a job anymore. How many kids and teens? Nick continues to go. Nick, I'll wait for your other comment. But I totally understand where you, and I was waiting for a comment where someone actually was like, screw this. I'm not happy today. I think that is totally okay to have that take from Nick. You feel cheated. I get it. It's like when they say don't meet your heroes, right? Like that's kind of how like when you found out about Sammy. Corey says Bonds got screwed too. Amazing hitter before steroids. Got sick of other people getting the recognition. Get Tommy Nichols to loosen the checkbook. Well, we'll see. Phil says the baseball didn't care when the fans came back. They became shook when I remember Canseco's book. Yeah. David, what's up? The Sox should just move their Sox Fest Live to Wings and Rings with that lineup to avoid another embarrassment. They won't sell out. Yeah. Have a new White Sox podcast we just taped with BA and John Eli, who is the pitching coach of the Birmingham Barons this year, about who can fill the void for Garrett Crochet. It is so good. His knowledge. He says Noah Schultz can be better than Garrett Crochet. Dude, not today, not tomorrow, but thinks long term that he might be set up for that with the kind of stuff he has. That'll be up later today here on the channel. Jimbo, I'm good, brother. Hope you are too. Jess, Bears. I don't like Kingsbury as a head coach. He has shown in multiple spots that he's a better OC than he is as CEO. All right. Locust, Sammy is the reason why I became a Cub fan as a kid and why I'm a fan to this day. Yes. Terry, were steroids right? No. But it was a product of the era he played in. Players in the 60s did greenies. The 70s was cocaine. The 90s, PEDs. Now they all have personal nutritionists. Terry. Again, was it right? This is morale police. No. Okay? It wasn't right because the guys who were working and doing training, overcoming injuries, they were doing it at watching these other guys either do the cream, the clear, or inject a needle in their ass. No, it wasn't right, but the era allowed it. Jimbo wants to talk about 2003. I think it was the Corked or the 04, one of the 04 season. I remember against Tampa Bay, the Corked Bat. And this is kind of where it all fell apart for Sammy shortly after. And, we know how the exit with the boombox, and he left early, and then he was traded for Jerry Harrison Jr. in Baltimore. The Corked Bat. Dude, there are warts. Sammy Sosa has warts, okay? Sammy Sosa has warts. I would just challenge every one of us, including myself, that are in this room and watching this. We all do. Okay? We all do. Now, some are more wrong than others. I'm not going to get into that debate. But Sammy Sosa has warts. He's a human being. He's a human being. Brad. I'm putting this up there, Brad, because it's funny. We could get Sammy to come back as a Bears O-line dietitian. Steroid sandwiches. Okay. Swayze, tomorrow, I will give you a parlay for Saturday's football slate. Which, by the way, coming up here, the bet of the day, we have gone twofer. We're back-to-back wins. I'm missing my UNLV grad. He must be celebrating after the big night. We won 2 straight now after that 6 straight losses. I love it. Santos wants to talk about the summer of 98. Totally agree. The summer of 98. It was great. He made so many Cub fans happy that year. Him, along with the Big Mac and the Cub season, brought fans back. He entertained us. That was so long ago. Tom's ego is getting the best of him, making him do this. No apologies needed. And that's kind of where I'm at, Santos. I just thought this was a fight between two guys. I don't even know if Sammy was fighting, but this was about one man getting his apology. I don't think, we've seen all the boatload of comments. And of course, guys, I always personally, I can't thank you enough for the support of this show and what we've been doing here, building this thing. I think we're going this way in 2025 with the lunch hour and beyond with the recap. I love the comments. It's hard to keep up with them all, but we've had one negative, maybe 1.5, 2 comments negative about this. Bulk of this is love it, love it, love it, love it. He did this, but no apology needed. Yeah. I mean, yes. Personally, I'd love to see Sammy walk on the field at Wrigley, and I'm a Sox fan. Wayne, dude, brother, got you. Dyer, I'd love to be at that game. How about that? Maybe it'd be Cubs Sox. How about that? Cubs Sox. Since he was originally a White Sox, he runs out to right. Dude, that's got to happen, right? He's got to do it. I think Sammy'd be all in. Pablo, some people are able to watch their kids get married because of Sammy in that hot summer. Come on, welcome him back. Well said, Pablo. Eli, Would you be on the White Sox to win the division, even though they're not very good, but it's 550,000 to 1? It's worth a try. Hey, Eli, dude, put that $5 back in your pocket or buy someone you care about something to give away here at the holiday season. Do not place that bet. Do not place that bet. Yeah, Swayze and Jess, they're agreeants. They're with me too. Appreciate you, Wayne. We're keeping it going, dude. We're going this way. You guys stay on board. We got all kinds of fun stuff coming. Heathen, the people are so judgmental. People who are so judgmental of others and ride the high horse are the ones who usually have their own vile secrets. Look, man, like it's not about calling other people out. We all got shit. We all got secrets. We all got warts. It is what it is. No, I'm not ready for the Bears to ruin Christmas, Mike. You know why? It can't happen. There's too much, man. Health, happiness, and family and friends. This channel. Bears aren't going to be the one. There's nobody ruining that. So that's my thoughts, Mike. Could this open the door for a part in the organization? I think that depends on two things. Like, what does Sammy want, and do the Cubs need or want him? We'll see. Babe Ruth found using a corked bat, so they need to stop it. Yeah. You don't think Babe Ruth had warts, by the way? I mean, it's not like there wasn't even like forget the cell phone. Getting a phone, period. I think it's Babe Ruth. Come on, man. Appreciate you, Clyde. Merry Christmas to you. Mike, same as you, man. Phil, you're taking on people saying Jed is showing more urgency. I think that Jed wants to have urgency, but he has a budget, and a budget that he's been told to adhere to, whether he likes it or not. So, Sammy Sosa, guys, that's the big news of the day. He issues an apology. Rickets invites him to Cubs convention. It's a really good day for Chicago sports, man. It's a really flipping good day for Chicago sports. I'm happy Sammy's back. Let's get to our bet of the day for those who play at home. The bet of the day, we've hit 2 straight now, as I mentioned. We won the UNLV bowl game last night. They covered easily. Cap and I watched that game. We had a friend dinner last night, that holiday recap dinner that parlayed into maybe a little casino fun. So that was good. Good to be with the guys last night. Going back to something I hit on early. Cortland Sutton, the Denver Broncos play the LA Chargers tonight, the reeling Chargers, a playoff matchup, 2 teams fighting for a spot. I'm going to ride this, man. Outside of last week, Cortland Sutton did have a late touchdown against the Indianapolis Colts. Cortland Sutton has gone over this number a boatload of times. I'm pulling it up here again. Cortland Sutton had gone over this number, like, I want to say 8 straight games. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 straight games dating back to October 27th, prior to last week. He had gone at least 6 or more catches. I'm going to ride this thing again. I'm going to say he gets 6 tonight, especially at the plus money value. I love that. We're going to try to go to 5-7-1. We're inching back to 500, folks. I love it. Who's saying hard pass? What do we got a hard pass on? Wayne, I've been following you since you teamed up with Chuck, who I love as well. Oh, and Cap too. Wayne, dude, I love it, man. I appreciate you. Jess, Merry Christmas. Are we still having lunch next week? We will have lunch at times next week. I'm not going to do a Christmas one. Okay. I'm going to take Christmas off. We might do a Christmas Eve one. We'll see. I'll tell you what, we'll take a look. I'd say the 23rd is in the mix. It's Mama Guff's birthday, not Mama, Mrs. Guff's birthday on the 23rd. So there'll be a big acknowledgement for that. But yeah, we will be definitely, and maybe the fun week will be the week after, when into the new year. I will be on vacation. The question is, where will the lunch hour be being broadcast from? That will be fun. And Mike likes the Chargers to win. Hey, as long as Cortland Sutton goes over 5.5, we are good. We are good. He was, by the hard pass, he was talking about Kingsbury and the head coach as head coach of the Bears. All right. In 30 minutes, we've wrapped it up that Sammy Sosa is coming back to the Cubs after issuing an apology. Tom Ricketts inviting him to Cubs convention. It's awesome stuff. The bet of the day is in. We're trying to go. We're trying to win 3 in a row. 3 bets in a row. Wayne, Family first, Guff. We will still be here. Wayne, dude, I'm here for the fam. Clyde, hit the subscribe button, get notifications when Guff comes on. That's what Clyde does. You know what Clyde's most jacked about? I don't ignore him anymore. I don't ignore any of you guys. I love when we have this discussion every day at the lunch hour, and we'll put a bow and a button on this one as we head into what is the last weekend before Christmas. The last weekend before Christmas. What? Not ready yet, and we're hosting this weekend. Stress City, baby. Stress City. Try to take a step back, enjoy it. Look at the big picture, 30,000-foot view of your year, and appreciate what you got, people. Appreciate what you got. A lot of love from me to you. That wraps up the Recap Lunch Hour for today, Thursday, December 19th. I'm Ryan McGuffey. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Can't wait.